I was walking around one of Innovation's high school campus when I passed in what used to be an old art building. It was made of bricks, and I noticed that it had a new coat of paint on it since the last time I had seen it. And it was unlocked, which was weird because they didn't use it anymore. Inside was a cold, dark classroom. It was clearly a classroom, although in disrepair. Everything was still in the room, including a couple dated computers in the corner. And lining the walls was old art that curled with time. On the other wall was a door to another room. In the room I was in, there was a single small leak in the middle of the room. But the other room was worse. This room was full of wood and building materials. It was the part I had been in before to do a small project around the school. But the floor was wet and rotting now. I didn't stay there long, going into the next room quickly. This room was basically empty, though the ceiling was littered with leaks and water dripped everywhere. The floor was covered in rotting ceiling tiles with moss growing over them. I went through this smaller room quickly, trying to avoid the drips, catching a few stray ones, until I made it to the next room. This room was a smaller classroom with a massive hole in the ceiling that let in warm golden sunlight. I sat in one of the desks and looked at the chalkboard in the front of the room. Eventually, I started to leave, running through the leaky room again and dodging new leaks in the storage room. Back in the first room, the leak in the middle of the room was now pouring water. I went over to the old obsolete technology. I had a vague inclination to save some of it, but it was all very bulky and would have been hard to carry out. Though I saw an old iPod perched on a dock, and I decided to save it instead. With that, I left the old art room, where it would have then been torn down, and I would never again return.